Well, at a time when Indo-Canadian relationship is at an all-time low, the Canadian government has further hurt the ties by blocking Jaishankar's speech that he made in Australia. Now, at a time when India has cancelled Canadian government over its appeasement of Khalistani elements on its soil, Canada has blocked Australia Today, which is in fact an Australian media outlet, after it aired a press conference by the External Affairs Minister Jaishankar and his Australian counterpart in Australia. Now, the speech in that speech, in fact, the Indian Foreign Minister had made some strong remarks on India-Canada standoff, which has now irked Canadian government. And this moves come again, in fact, this proves Canada hypocrisy is what the External Affairs Minister has said, and this move also comes after Canadian NSA confirmed that Canada has leaked information pertaining to the Indian government to the Washington Post, and now it has banned the media outlet of one of its own allies. Now remember, Canada and Australia are both part of Five Eyes intelligence sharing alliance. UK, US as well as New Zealand are also part of this grouping. But as far as India is concerned, they've called this move quite strange and said that the action yet again highlights Canada's hypocrisy towards freedom of speech. Have a look.
We understand that the social media handles and pages of this particular outlet, which is an important diaspora outlet, has been blocked and are not available for viewers in Canada. This happened just a few hours after this particular handle carried the press conference of External Affairs Minister along with Penny Wong. We were surprised. It looks strange to us, but nonetheless, what I will say that these are actions which yet again highlight the hypocrisy of Canada towards freedom of speech.
Well, in fact, this move comes just days after Indian Ministry of External Affairs expressed great concern over the safety of Indians after violent attacks on Hindu temples led by Khalistani extremists in Canada. But let us tell you more about this. And while Trudeau condemned the violence, he and other leaders in the country failed to call out the Khalistani hand in the violence that took place last week. Remember, the temples in Canada were attacked by the Khalistani extremists. Now, this, as far as this violence is concerned, this has now been rigged up in the country by the People's Part of Canada chief, who has slammed the cowardice of Canadian netas for failing to even name Khalistani Sikhs when speaking about the violence. Maxime Bernier also said that they were likely worried to offend their voters, and the complacency explains the rise of Khalistani extremism in Canada. Meanwhile, in India, BJP has slammed Canada for its hypocrisy. Listen in.
If हाथी के दांत खाने के अलग दिखाने के अलग और hypocrisy had a face, it would be the Canadian government. On the one hand, the Canadian government harps on free speech, presents itself as the poster child of free speech and liberal values. On the other hand, the Canadian government has blocked the social media outlets of Australia Today, where the version of the Indian External Affairs Minister, Jaishankar, was carried along with his counterpart Penny Wong. This was to counter the baseless allegations made without any evidence by the Canadian side.
Well, for more on this, let me go across to my colleague Rishabh, who joins us live on the broadcast with more details. Rishabh, there's again dent on the ties of Canada and India. This time, Canadian government has blocked the website that aired the press conference of the External Affairs of Minister of India. Give us more details on this.
Well, Akasha, good morning. Definitely, the way Australia Today, a community-based, diaspora-based media outlet, has been banned by Canadian government, showcases the desperation and the hypocrisy of Canadian government. Australia Today is a diaspora-based media outlet operated from various parts of Australia and consumed by diaspora worldwide. External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar, who is on visit to Australia, did an interview with Australia Today where he spoke at length about the issues like Khalistan and the way Canadian government has been giving space to anti-India elements, and especially the Khalistani mob. And then there was a press conference by External Affairs Minister Jaishankar along with his Australian counterpart Penny Wong. Hours after the airing these interviews and the excerpts of this interview on the social media platforms of Australia Today, course, Indian government withheld these accounts in Canada. This clearly showcases that the government that has been ruining its diplomatic ties with India over the issue of freedom of expression is not very keen to have freedom of expression the moment their bluff is called out, and that's the reason this has taken place. Indian government has called it hypocrite behavior of Canadian government and has slammed Canada for not allowing the truth to come out.
Absolutely, and let's also talk about how this has panned out in India. BJP has also slammed the Canadian government for the hypocrisy. Not the first time that the Canadian government, the Trudeau government, has been called out for this, Rishabh.
Well, definitely, this is not the first time that government of India has called out Trudeau government, and we've seen it in the last 1.5 years that the way Canadian government has been provoking and instigating government of India by something or other for those allegations, then naming Home Minister Amit Shah or other senior diplomats of Indian government. The way Canadian government, without proof, have been instigating India. India has been calling out their bluff, be it in case of Sanjay Verma, our former High Commissioner, who has been withdrawn by India from Ottawa, or be it by naming Home Minister Amit Shah, where India has very categorically said that this is not substantive and just a campaign to malign
Absolutely.
India.